They removed me from the family tree and said, "You were a mistake, we're correcting," so I disappeared and built a life so successful they're now my employees. Before the story continues, kindly subscribe to support us. And while you're here, say hi and tell us where you're watching from. We cherish every comment. I found it during Thanksgiving dinner, a framed family tree hanging in Mama's newly renovated dining room. My fork clattered against the china as I stared at the elegant calligraphy tracing our lineage back 4 generations. Every cousin, every aunt, every distant relative had their place in those carefully drawn branches. Except me. Where my name should have been, there was just nothing. A blank space. Like I'd been erased. Mama. My voice cracked. Where's my name? The table went silent. My older sister Doreen's eyes darted away. My brother Eric suddenly found his phone fascinating. But Mama. She dabbed her mouth with her napkin, calm as Sunday morning. We had it redone professionally, she said, not even looking at me. Traced our real family line. Real family? The room tilted. What does that mean? My father, the man who raised me, who taught me to ride a bike, who walked me through my first heartbreak, finally spoke. Nia, we've been meaning to talk to you. Your mother had an affair 28 years ago. You're not mine biologically. The words hung there like smoke. 28 years. My entire life was a lie they'd all known about. Everyone knew but me. We decided it was time to correct the record, Mama continued, her voice clinical. You were a mistake, we're correcting. This is our family tree. Our bloodline. You don't belong in it. My grandmother, the woman who taught me to braid hair and bake sweet potato pie, nodded in agreement. It's just the truth, baby. Nothing personal. Nothing personal. They'd erased me from existence over turkey and dressing, and called it nothing personal. I left that house with my heart in pieces and my mind racing. The drive back to my apartment blurred through tears I refused to shed in front of them. 28 years of memories crashed over me, every birthday, every Christmas, every moment I thought we were family. All of it contaminated now by their cruelty. They'd known. All those years, they'd known and said nothing, letting me believe I belonged. My phone buzzed relentlessly. Doreen, don't be dramatic. Eric, you're overreacting. Even cousins I'd grown up with texted their support of Mama's decision. It's about preserving family legacy, my cousin Tasha wrote. You understand, right? No. I didn't understand. I didn't understand how blood could be thicker than 28 years of love. Or what I thought was love. That night, I sat on my bathroom floor, staring at my reflection. I had Mama's cheekbones. Or did I? Was anything about me real? My phone rang, Daddy. Not Daddy. James. Just James now, apparently. Nia, come back. We can talk about this reasonably. Reasonably? I laughed, bitter and sharp. You erased me from our family history and you want reasonable. You're being childish. It's just a tree. We're not disowning you. Aren't you though? You literally removed me from the family. He sighed, exhausted. Your mother thought it was best. For everyone. You'll always be welcome at dinners, but legally, historically, we're clarifying the record. I hung up. Something crystallized in that moment, cold, hard, unbreakable. They wanted to erase me. Fine. I'd disappear. But I'd do it on my terms. Monday morning, I walked into Carmichael and Associates where I'd worked as a junior financial analyst for 3 years. My boss, Patricia, noticed immediately. You look different, she said, studying my face. Something happened. I told her everything. Not because we were close, but because I needed someone to confirm I wasn't crazy. Patricia listened, her expression darkening with each detail. "That's unconscionable," she finally said. "Nia, you're one of the sharpest minds I've seen in 20 years. Don't let them define your worth." Those words planted a seed. I'd spent 3 years making other people rich, analyzing portfolios, identifying opportunities. Why couldn't I do that for myself? That night, I opened my laptop and started planning. I had $80,000 in savings, a 401k I could partially access, and most importantly, I had knowledge. I'd spent months analyzing a struggling marketing firm, Hendrix Digital. They had amazing creative talent but disastrous financial management. They were bleeding money, their owner desperate to sell. I'd written a whole proposal for Patricia to acquire them, but she'd passed. I wouldn't. Over the next 2 weeks, I worked like a demon possessed. I met with Hendrix's owner, Gregory, a 50-something man exhausted by debt. I showed him my analysis, my restructuring plan, my vision. I offered him less than market value but promised to keep his team employed. "You're 28, he said skeptically. "And I'm the only one offering you a way out that doesn't destroy what you built," I countered. "Take it or watch it die slowly." He took it. Acquiring Hendrix Digital drained every penny I had, including a small business loan that made my stomach churn. But I wasn't afraid, I was furious, and fury is one hell of a motivator. The company was a disaster. Accounts were months behind, clients were leaving, and the staff of 12 looked at me like I was their executioner. I called an all-hands meeting my first day. They sat around the conference table, defensive and scared. "I'm not here to fire anyone," I started. "I'm here to build something that matters. But we do this my way. Anyone who can't commit to excellence can leave now with 2 weeks severance." Nobody moved. My lead designer, a woman named Shanice with purple locks, spoke up. "What's your vision?" "We stop chasing every client who waves money. We specialize, Black-owned businesses, minority entrepreneurs, people who get overlooked by bigger firms. We become the best at serving them, and we charge premium prices for premium work." "That's a niche market," my developer Cameron said doubtfully. "It's an underserved market worth billions," I corrected. "Trust me. I've run the numbers." For 3 months, I worked 16-hour days. I rebuilt our client base from scratch, targeting Black entrepreneurs who were killing it but had amateur branding. I cold called, I networked, I hustled. Shanice's designs were incredible, she just needed direction and resources. Cameron could code circles around developers at Fortune 500 companies. Slowly, painfully, we started winning. A boutique owner in Brooklyn. A tech startup in Atlanta. A restaurant chain in Detroit. Each success funded the next campaign. By month 6, we were profitable. By month 9, we'd tripled our revenue. I didn't tell my family anything. They'd stopped calling anyway. Year 2, everything exploded. We landed a contract with a major streaming service to redesign their diversity initiative branding, a $3 million deal that put Hendrix Digital on the map. Forbes did a profile. Black Enterprise featured us. Suddenly, I was visionary entrepreneur Nia Thompson, not the mistake that needed correcting. I moved into a luxury condo in downtown Chicago. The view from my floor-to-ceiling windows was intoxicating, proof that I existed, that I mattered, that I'd built something they couldn't erase. I hired more staff. 20 employees became 40. 40 became 70. We opened a second office. That's when Doreen called. First time in 18 months. "Nia. Oh my God, I saw you in Forbes. I'm so proud of you." The audacity nearly choked me. Proud? Yes. My sister, the CEO. We should celebrate. Your sister. I kept my voice pleasant, poisonous. That's interesting. Last I checked, I wasn't on the family tree. Just a mistake you were correcting, remember? Silence. Then, quieter, that was Mama's thing. I never agreed with it. You sat there silent while she said it. You texted me to stop being dramatic. Don't rewrite history now that I'm successful. Nia, please. I miss you. Can we meet for coffee? Every instinct screamed to refuse. But I was curious. What did they want now? Fine. Saturday. The Starbucks on Michigan Avenue. 10 a.m. She arrived 15 minutes late, wearing discount store clothes and stress in every line of her face. The sister who used to mock my thrift store finds now looked diminished. You look amazing, she said, eyeing my designer outfit. What do you want, Doreen? Doreen's coffee sat untouched as she launched into her rehearsed speech. Her marketing degree hadn't panned out. She'd been bouncing between retail jobs, barely making rent. Her son, my nephew I'd been erased from knowing, needed expensive asthma treatments. She was drowning. I was hoping, she said, not meeting my eyes, maybe you could help me get a job. At your company. I'm good with social media, and... No. Her head snapped up. Nia, please. I'm family. That word. Family. I leaned back, studying her. Am I though? Because I distinctly remember being removed from the family. Corrected, like an error. That was 2 years ago. People change. Mama's been talking about reaching out. Mama erased me from existence and you all supported her. Now I'm supposed to forget that because you need something. I stood. Here's what's going to happen. You'll apply through our website like everyone else. If you're qualified, you'll get an interview. If you ace the interview, you might get hired. But you won't get special treatment because we share DNA. That's cold, Nia. No, Doreen. Cold is erasing someone from your family tree at Thanksgiving. This is business. I dropped a 20 on the table. Coffee's on me. The job application fee isn't. I walked away from her tears, feeling nothing but satisfaction. That night, Eric called. Then Tasha. Then 3 more cousins. Word had spread, Nia had money now, and suddenly everyone remembered we were family. I let every call go to voicemail, collecting their desperation like receipts. But I did check our job applications. Doreen had applied. Her resume was mediocre at best. Month 27 of my new life brought an unexpected visitor to my office. My assistant, Jordan, buzzed me with obvious discomfort. Ms. Thompson, your mother is here. She doesn't have an appointment. My mother. Not Mama. The woman who'd looked me in the eye and called me a mistake. I should have had security remove her. Instead, curiosity won. Send her in. She'd aged. Gray streaked her hair, and her clothes, always impeccable, looked worn. She stood in my doorway, taking in the expensive furniture, the city views, the evidence of my success, and something flickered across her face. Pride? Regret? Resentment? Nia, baby. Ms. Thompson in this office, I interrupted. What can I do for you, Mrs. Williams? She flinched at the formality. I came to apologize. What we did at Thanksgiving was wrong. I was angry about old wounds, and I took it out on you. You didn't deserve that. No, I didn't. I gestured to a chair. Why now? Why not 2 years ago? She sat, clutching her purse. I was stubborn. Proud. Your father, James, he's been struggling. His business is failing. We're losing the house. And I realized. I pushed away my daughter over pride. Your daughter. I tilted my head. Or your ex-lover's daughter. Let's be clear about which version of me you're claiming now. You were always my daughter. Biology doesn't. Biology mattered enough to remove me from the family tree. She had no answer. We sat in silence until she spoke again, quieter now. James heard you're expanding. Opening an office in Tampa. He's in commercial real estate there. He thought maybe. And there it was. Not an apology. A transaction. I should have said no. Should have thrown them out and changed my locks and phone number. But revenge is a patient architect, and I was building a masterpiece. 3 weeks later, I hired James, not as an executive, but as a mid-level commercial real estate scout. Someone who'd find properties for our expansion. Someone who'd report to my director of operations, who reported to my VP, who reported to me. I made him interview 3 times. Made him submit references. Made him prove his worth like any other applicant. And when I finally offered him the job at $60,000 a year, a fraction of what he used to make, he took it with desperate gratitude. Thank you, Mia. You don't know what this means. Don't thank me yet, I replied coolly. This is a meritocracy. You perform or you're out. No special treatment because you used to be my father. He nodded, understanding the demotion built into that sentence. Used to be. Past tense. Dead and buried. Doreen got hired too, eventually. After her 5th application and a grueling interview process, she joined our social media team as a junior coordinator. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The sister who'd texted, "Don't be dramatic," now answered to managers who answered to managers who answered to me. Eric tried next. Then Tasha. Then my Uncle Richard, who'd laughed at Mama's family tree joke. One by one, they came crawling as their own lives crumbled. The economy had shifted, opportunities dried up, and suddenly my thriving company looked like a life raft. I hired them all. Every single person who'd sat silent at that Thanksgiving dinner. Every person who'd watched me get erased and done nothing. But I hired them at the bottom. Running a company where half your employees are former family members who betrayed you requires a special kind of steel. I developed it quickly. Eric, who'd been a bank manager, now processed vendor invoices. Tasha, who'd sneered about preserving family legacy, answered customer service calls. Uncle Richard, who'd laughed the loudest, worked in our mailroom. The whispers started immediately. She's punishing them, some said. She's petty, others claimed. But my numbers didn't lie. We were the fastest growing minority-owned marketing firm in the Midwest, and I'd built it on talent and ruthless efficiency. If they wanted to stay, they'd work like everyone else. What they didn't know, what I'd never tell them, was that every hire had been strategic. I'd placed them in positions where I could observe their character. Would they show humility? Growth? Or would they revert to the entitled people who'd erased me? Doreen surprised me. She worked harder than anyone, staying late, taking criticism without complaint. 3 months in, she knocked on my office door during lunch. I need to say something, she started, her voice shaking. What we did to you was unforgivable. I've spent 2 years justifying it, telling myself Mama was just hurt about the affair, that it wasn't personal. But it was. It was cruel. And I sat there and let it happen because speaking up meant going against Mama, and I was too weak to do that. I put down my salad, studying her. Why are you telling me this now? Because working here, seeing what you built from nothing after we destroyed you. I'm ashamed. And I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know, I see you now. I see what I failed to see then. The company's success brought new pressures. We were negotiating a potential acquisition by a Fortune 500 company, a deal that would make everyone rich but cost me control. During a crucial board meeting, James made a critical error. He'd misread zoning requirements on a Tampa property, and our entire expansion timeline was now in jeopardy. "This is unacceptable," my COO, David, said flatly. "We needed that location secured 2 weeks ago." James looked devastated. "I'll fix it. I'll find another property." "You don't have time," David cut him off. "We're pulling you from the Tampa project. This goes to someone competent." The room tensed. James, 56 years old, unemployed for a year before I hired him, looked like he might cry. Part of me, the part that remembered being his daughter, wanted to defend him. The rest of me remembered the family tree. "David's right," I said quietly. "You're reassigned. Richardson will take over Tampa." After the meeting, James cornered me in my office. "Nia, please. I made a mistake. One mistake. Don't take this from me." "You taught me once that actions have consequences," I replied, not looking up from my computer. "That was good advice. I know I hurt you. I know what we did was wrong. But I'm trying, baby girl. I'm trying to prove I deserve another chance. Baby girl." He hadn't called me that since before Thanksgiving 2 years ago. The memory stabbed through my armor. I remembered him teaching me to drive, his patient voice talking me through parallel parking. I remembered him threatening my first boyfriend with bodily harm if he disrespected me. I remembered him. "You get one more chance," I finally said. "Screw it up, and you're done." My biological father reached out 6 months into year 3. His name was Daniel Cross, a successful architect living in Seattle. The private investigator I'd hired had found him easily. Apparently, he'd been searching for me too. We arranged a video call. He looked like me. Same eyes, same nose, same expression when thinking hard. It was uncanny and uncomfortable and strangely comforting. "Your mother never told me about you," were his first words. "I found out through a mutual friend who saw your Forbes article and noticed the resemblance. I've spent 3 months confirming it before reaching out." "Nia, if I'd known." "You would have what?" I asked. "This isn't an accusation. I genuinely want to know." "I would have been there. Paid child support. Been your father." "Michelle, your mother," she ended things abruptly, wouldn't say why. "I assumed she'd gone back to her husband." He paused. "I had no idea she was pregnant. I had no idea you existed." We talked for 3 hours. He had 2 other daughters, my half-sisters, and they wanted to meet me. He was married, happily, and his wife was furious he'd been kept from me. He was everything James pretended to be: successful, stable, genuinely remorseful about missing my life. "I don't want to replace your family," Daniel said carefully. "But I'd like to know you. If you're open to it." "The family that raised me removed me from their family tree," I told him bluntly. "They literally erased my existence until they needed jobs. So yeah, I'm open to meeting actual family who wants me around." That weekend, I flew to Seattle. Meeting my half-sisters, Simone and Adrian, felt like finding missing puzzle pieces. The acquisition offer came through at $12 million. My lawyers spent weeks negotiating terms. I'd retain creative control for 5 years, and my team would stay intact. More importantly, the acquiring company wanted to expand my business model nationally, meaning more offices, more employees, more opportunities. More positions to fill. I called an all-hands meeting. The conference room was packed: my original team, the new hires, and yes, the family members who now worked for me. I stood at the front, looking at the sea of faces that represented my resurrection. "We're being acquired," I announced. Shocked murmurs rippled through the room. "This means expansion. 10 new offices over 3 years. Leadership positions will be available, and promotions will be merit-based." As always. After the meeting, Doreen approached me privately. Does this mean you're leaving? I'm staying on as CEO during the transition. After that, we'll see. I studied her. You've done good work, Doreen. Really good. Your social media campaigns increased client engagement by 40%. That's impressive. She looked stunned. You noticed? I notice everything. That's how I built this. I paused. There's a senior coordinator position opening in our New York office. You should apply. Her eyes filled with tears. Nia, I don't deserve. You're right. You don't deserve anything. But you've earned consideration. There's a difference. Over the next month, I restructured everything. Doreen got New York. Eric, who'd proven himself reliable in invoicing, moved to accounts management. James stayed in mid-level real estate. He was competent but would never be more. Tasha remained in customer service because she'd shown no growth beyond showing up. My biological father flew in for the acquisition celebration. Watching him shake hands with James was surreal. The day after the acquisition finalized, I gathered my former family in a conference room. Just them. They filed in nervously, 10 people who'd once erased me from existence now sitting in my company, drawing paychecks I authorized, living in a world I'd built from their ashes. I want to thank you, I started. They looked confused. 2.5 years ago, you removed me from the family tree. You called me a mistake you were correcting. And you know what? You were right. I was a mistake, your mistake. You mistook my love for weakness. My loyalty for desperation. My presence for granted. James opened his mouth. I held up a hand. You taught me that family is something you choose, not something you're owed. So I chose. I chose Daniel and Simone and Adrian, people who wanted me without conditions. I chose my team, Shanice, Cameron, Jordan, who built this with me. And I chose myself. Finally. Mama, Michelle, was crying. Nia, we were wrong. We see that now. You see it now because I'm successful. If I'd failed, you'd still think you were right to erase me. That's the difference between you and my real family. They loved me when I had nothing to offer but myself. I stood, gathering my folders. You have jobs here because you're competent enough to keep them. But we're not family. We're employer and employees. That's all we'll ever be. Because you don't get to unerase someone once you realize they're worth something. I walked toward the door, then stopped. Oh, and Doreen. Pack your things for New York. You start Monday. You've earned it. 3 months later, I stood in my corner office, a real corner office now, in Manhattan. My company had gone from 12 employees to 200. My family, my real family, was flying in for Thanksgiving. This year, I'd be on everyone's tree. The right trees. The ones that mattered. My phone buzzed. A text from Shanice, just landed the Nike diversity contract. Boss, we did it. I smiled, looking out at the city I'd conquered. They'd tried to erase me. Instead, I'd written myself into history, indelibly, undeniably, entirely on my own terms. Some mistakes correct themselves. Others correct the people who made them. I'd done both.